Hey, welcome back from the March holidays. Alright, let's get started. So in the previous video, we talked about, organ donation, tissue rejection. And so today we're going to continue with the blood groups. Okay, learning outcome. List the different ABO blood groups and describe all possible combinations for the donor and recipient in blood transfusions. Okay, so in some countries, the blood groups of a person is stated in their identification card, and this is useful in case of emergency. But in Singapore, the blood group tests are pretty quick, easy, and accessible, so this information is no longer included in identity cards. Although, I'll tell you that when I was young, my identity card had one, so I think I liked it personally, having my blood group there. And in army, they made us wear this thing called dog tags also, where they have our blood group. Okay, my blood group is, as you can guess, A+, right, for Asian, best group. Okay, so we are not Asian, we're Asian. It must be A+. Okay, anyway, why is knowing a blood groups important during a medical emergency? This is because you need to give the right kind of blood to the person. If not, that person may die. So in the past, in the 18th century or just maybe 200 or 300 years ago, doctors would actually try to transfuse blood from people, right, to the patient, trying to save somebody. Why? Okay, let's look at some history. Because people already knew the importance of blood, and they observed that when there's a loss of blood, that leads to death, and so they had the idea of transferring blood from one person to another. Okay, and then so I think the first one was done on a Pope Innocent in Rome. Okay, and then what happened was that he died. And this happened a few other times, right? For example, when people donate blood transfusion, at first everything will seem fine. Everything will be like, okay, the guy is kind of healthy, but pretty quickly the blood will clot, and then some of the patients will get severe reactions, and then some of them will die. Okay, so finally along came this person called Karl Landsteiner, an Austrian scientist, and he discovered the first three human blood groups, which are A, B, and O. And for this discovery, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine. Then his two students, they discovered the AB blood type. So together, these are now called the ABO blood group system, right? A, B, AB, and O. Okay. So yeah, eventually, things like the blood bank was set up and all this. After that, there was also this factor called the RH factor, which we'll talk a bit about more in the class. But this is not tested for you guys. Okay, so why were people dying from blood transfusion? It's because of this thing called agglutination. And what is agglutination? Agglutination is when the blood clumps up together and it blocks the small blood vessels like the capillaries or even your arteries, etc. And then without the flow of blood through the body cells don't get enough oxygen, don't get enough glucose, and then you die. So why does this happen? Because the surfaces of our red blood cells contain special proteins called antigens. These same antigens are found on all of your red blood cells. Your blood plasma contains antibodies, which are produced by the white blood cells and are always present in the blood. These natural antibodies will not react with the antigens on your blood cells, but they may react with the antigens on the red blood cells of another person. This causes clumping of the red blood cells. Okay, so let's say, for example, this is antibody B, and then this is antigen B. Okay, so the red blood cell, if the red blood cell has antigen B, and then there's this antibody that targets the antigen, then it will clump up together. It causes it to actually join up with other red blood cells, and this is what I call as agglutination. Okay, so we can actually be classified into blood groups based on the type of antigens, antibodies that are present in our blood. The antigens are represented by capital letters A and B, and antibodies against antigens A and B may be represented by the small letters A and B. Okay, so for example, antigen A reacts with antigen. Sorry, that's why it's important to speak slowly. Antibody A reacts with antigen A, and clumping will occur. So we can actually do this thing called a blood test to tell us which blood group we come from. Okay, have you ever drawn your blood? This process is actually called phlebotomy. Do-Me. Okay, let's take a look at the 4 blood groups. So there's 4 blood groups: A, B, AB, and O. For a person whose blood group is A, his red blood cells contain antigen A, or rather antigen A is present on all of his red blood cells. And in his plasma, there's antibody B. A person with blood group B, his red blood cells have antigen B, but his plasma has antigen A. And notice that these two are not the same, right? So they will not react with each other. For a person with AB, he has antigens A and B on his red blood cells, but he has no antibodies in his plasma. And a person with blood group O has no antigens on his red blood cells, but he has antibodies A and B. Okay. So we mentioned this before, but if you belong to blood group A, your red blood cells will possess antigen A and your plasma contains antibody B. Your plasma would not contain antibody A, or else your own red blood cells will agglutinate. Okay, so yeah, logical. Okay. Now, let's find out what happens when different blood groups are mixed together. Okay, so take note, okay, when you are donating, when you donate blood, you actually separate the components. For example, you separate the red blood cells, the plasma, and the platelets. Okay, so most of the time, okay, only the red blood cells are transfused to the patient. They do not transfuse the plasma, because that will add more complications and all that stuff. Okay, so they will just try to just donate only the red blood cells alone, without the platelets or the white blood cells, etc. I don't know. Okay, white blood cells no choice. That one will be inside. Okay, so just mainly the red blood cells by themselves. And so what happens is that when you put another person's red blood cells into you, that's where problems can occur, right? This agglutination can occur. Let's see how this happens. For example, this person the recipient is a blood group A, so there is antibody B in his plasma. If a donor has blood group A, right, and he donates to him, then nothing happens, right? Because they have the same blood type, so obviously no clumping. The problem is that if a person has from blood group B donates to a recipient of blood group A, there will be clumping. Why does this happen? It's because the donor's blood, right, the donor B, right, this is his red blood cell, and this is his red blood cell. He's giving his red blood cell into a person of A, and that person has antibody B. So all the antibody B will go and attack the donated blood and cause it to clump up. Even though you might say, hey, it's just a little few drops of blood only, or 1 liter, 2 liter of blood, not much, right, compared to the whole volume. But actually that 1 liter of blood is a lot already. Okay, so the volume of all these new foreign red blood cells that come in will cause agglutination and then lead to death. Okay, so B cannot donate to A. Then AB. Okay, AB is what you call as the universal cannot donate. That means that this person is the worst, except for themselves. These are the most selfish people. Cannot, I'm just kidding. They are not selfish, but then their blood is not is quite rare. So AB is the most rare, and so AB actually causes clumping for A, B, and O. Okay, why does that happen? So A and B, right? This person has both his red blood cells has both antigen A and antigen B. So if we donate to a recipient with A, that recipient has antibody B, it will cause clumping. Same thing also, if we donate to a recipient with blood group B, the recipient's plasma has A, antigen A, so it also will cause agglutination. The only person that the AB donor can give to is other AB. Okay, so AB can give to AB, and the AB are called a universal acceptor. They can accept any kind of blood. Okay, yeah, and of course O, because O also has both of the antibodies, it also cause clumping. Okay, then that's about AB. Okay, so sorry, I got very distracted there, and I want to finish talking about the recipient blood group A. So if you have a donor whose blood group is O, this is very good, right? Because the donor O have no antigens, right? Their blood is like that, no antigens. And this is what we call as a universal donor. So in general, a person with blood group O is very useful because he can donate blood to any other recipient and there will be no clumping. Okay, so take some time to read B yourself and figure out, understand this. I want to talk specifically about AB and also for O. AB, as we said, he's a person, this group of people are known as universal acceptors. They can accept any blood because there's no antibodies in their plasma. So they take whatever blood, is okay because there'll be no clumping, no agglutination for them. Okay, but at the same time, they cannot donate to other people unless the other person is also AB. But for O is what we call as the universal donor, but can only accept their own blood. Okay, so a bit unfortunate, right? Wow, you're so nice, you give to other people, but only you yourself can give to yourself. Why? Because for the blood group O, they have A and B plus antibody in the plasma. So if they receive from A, B, or AB, it will all cause clumping. The only group that can give to O is only O. Okay, so that's why they are called the universal donor. Okay, let's take a look at what these people are saying. So they say people with blood group AB should donate blood because their blood is safe for recipients with blood group AB or AB. Huh? No. Okay, then this one says, I think people with blood group O should donate blood because their blood is safe for recipients of any blood group. Okay, yeah, so this is why science is important, not end up with a lot of chaos in the world. Okay, to answer this point, people with blood group AB should still donate, okay, because their blood is quite rare, and maybe you can use their blood just for other AB people. And people with blood group O also can donate, right, because their blood is known as the universal donor. They can give to any other blood group. It's safe for any other blood group. So this guy is more correct. This girl is absolutely wrong. Although it's true, AB can still donate blood. Okay, it's not like AB don't need to donate blood. Everybody can donate blood if you are above 16 years old. Blah blah blah. Let's take a look at some video. Yeah, okay. So some TikTok. Here we have a test. Okay, this test, it actually is you add the serum. Okay, so there's a drop of blood from, yeah, let's just watch the video and I'll explain as we go. Okay, so when they put in this blue liquid is the anti-serum. Okay, that means that this blue liquid contains the antibody A. Okay, and that's what continue watching. Okay, then this yellow liquid is the anti-serum or the antibody for B. Okay, so this one contains the antibody for B. The last one says RH. RH is known as the rhesus factor. We're not covered, we're not teaching that. But if you are curious, you can actually go and find out. It's a sub type of a blood group. Okay, so this is something that yeah, you got A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, AB plus, AB minus, O plus, O minus. So it's like a secondary group. Besides the ABO system, there's also this RH system that we need to take note of, especially for nurses and doctors. Like trouble breaking into your heart like that. Cool shade stunner, hair all way down to my mother. Hot like summer, yeah, I'm making you sweat like that. Break it down. Okay, so usually what happens during this blood test is that you mix the drop of blood with that antibody, right? So for example, antibody A, antibody B, and the antibody for RH is over here. And then you see whether or not it forms agglutination. And if it forms agglutination, that indicates the kind of blood that the person have. Okay, so let's watch for the first one. And you tell me what kind of blood is this Mr. CF. Okay, these are the names, Mr. CF, Mr. RO, etc. Okay, so you saw, it's a bit shaky. There was agglutination for RH and there's also agglutination for A. Yeah, I recall that I said that the blue drop, right, was they put that antibody A over here. So if you see agglutination, what does that mean? That means that the red blood cells have the antigen A, and so you can consider this person as what? Blood group. That's correct. Okay, so we find A plus, A positive. Okay, same thing for this. You notice that there's agglutination here, agglutination here. So what kind of blood what blood group is this person? That's correct, it's a B plus. Okay, this person, do you see any agglutination? No, right? So this one got no agglutination, so he's an O positive. Let's watch the last one. Agglutination for both, right? So AB positive. Okay, so just to summarize, if you see agglutination, that's because there's the antibody A is agglutinating all of that red blood cells with that antigen A, and then it's causing it to bunch up together. That's what we see here. Okay, so the most obvious one is the AB one. You'll see both A and B are positive. The reason why A looks a little bit darker is because that the serum they used was blue color, whereas the serum for this was clear. Okay, so just a fun fact. Do you know that in some countries like in Korea or Japan, they actually think that your blood group, blood type, right, will affect your personality? Okay, so like you have heard of some story like, oh, if you are I'm an A type person, I'm a B type person, you know, etc. So do you think this is true? Alright. Do you think that if you are blood type A, you are earnest, perfectionist, responsible, stubborn, sensitive, and anxious? Okay, I'm personally a blood type A. I would say that I'm responsible, but the rest not very true. Okay, I'm a little bit more towards the blood type B kind of personality actually. Okay, so yeah, you ask yourself lah when debate whether this is true or not. Lastly, I also told you there's this thing called the rhesus factor, RH factor. This is also another different type of antigen. It is a different grouping from the ABO system. So this is also something that doctors will take note of, right? Whether or not the person has the RH antigen on the red blood cell, or you don't have. And most people actually have this RH factor. Very few people is negative for it. Now I just want to quickly show you the percentages of I would say the blood types in Singapore based on the donors that are giving blood. Okay, so it's not 100% accurate, but it's quite accurate lah. Okay, so as you can see, majority of the people in Singapore are actually from the O blood type. Okay, so O blood type is the most common blood. Then we have A blood type, and then okay, so maybe B is a little bit more. B plus is at 25%, and then A plus is at 24%, and the AB is the rarest. AB is 5.6%, and you can see that for people without the RH factor, it's actually very few, right? It's like 0 point something percent. Okay, so this group of people are quite rare lah. Okay, there's actually even other blood types out there, like the blood type K or something like that lah. Okay, but yeah, we're not going to talk much about that. That's just a like very rare example. Okay, so okay, so I believe that people are allowed to donate blood, I think at 16 years old. I remember donating blood when I was in poly. I think I was 17 years old around that time. Okay, so there was like a blood drive and everything. Okay, I think that donating blood is important. I've done it myself personally quite a few times, because this is a very easy way that you can help people, right, in this world, especially when you know that the blood bank is actually quite low in the blood supply nowadays. Okay, a unit of blood is about 350 to 450 ml, which is like half a liter. How many units of blood will be used in a year in Singapore? Right? Do some research. Go and ask Ch6B. Maybe he'll tell you the answer. Okay, let's practice some questions. What are the different blood groups in the humans? Very easy. A, B, AB, and O. And also we have the RH and RH minus lah, but they are not important. Okay, why is a person with blood group O a universal donor? That is because their blood does not their red blood cells do not contain either A or B antigens. Therefore, it's accepted in almost any other person. Okay. And with that, let's pause here and we'll continue on with the next lesson. Okay, see you around. Bye.